All right, let's dive into the 5 types of wealth. This one's by Sahil Bloom. And well, it's got me thinking, like, how many more times will we actually get to see our parents before, or this one?
Mhm.
What's the secret to happiness? A 94-year-old Indian princess actually gave Bloom some wisdom on that.
Bloom's take on wealth is definitely not your typical money is everything kind of thing.
Exactly. It's about more than just the cash, right?
He argues that real abundance comes from 5 different areas: financial, obviously, but also time, social connections, our mental state, and even physical health.
And he starts off with a really personal story. I mean, the guy's successful, but something's missing. Then a friend hits him with this, like, hey, you'll probably only see your parents 15 more times before they're gone.
Whoa, that'll make you stop and think.
It totally did. It made Bloom rethink everything.
It's like that thing, what is it, the arrival fallacy? We think if we just hit that goal, that promotion or whatever, then we'll be happy.
But then we're just chasing the next thing, never truly satisfied.
Exactly. And that's where Bloom's journey began. He interviews all sorts of people, from artists in their 90s to, get this, folks who've been incarcerated for years.
So what's the common thread? What makes people feel truly wealthy?
It's not just about the money. The people who felt genuinely wealthy, they were rich in time, relationships, purpose, they had their health.
So let's unpack those 5 types, starting with financial wealth.
Sure. Bloom looks at income, how much you're bringing in, expenses, what's going out, and investments, making that money work for you. But the real takeaway,
Defining what enough means for you, not just chasing some arbitrary number.
absolutely, it's about figuring out your own financial goals, what actually matters.
Okay, so that's financial. What about time? There's never enough of it, right?
Right, and that's time wealth. Bloom talks about this Red Queen effect, running faster and faster just to stay in the same place.
Always busy, but never really getting anywhere.
It happens to the best of us. But Bloom's point is, we need to shift from managing time to owning it. Figure out what matters most and get comfortable saying no to the stuff that drains you.
I like that, owning your time.
Yeah.
And then there's social wealth, the richness of our connections, those important people in our lives.
Bloom calls them our front row people, the ones you'd want by your side no matter what. He also talks about the loneliness epidemic, how even though we're all connected online.
It can still feel pretty isolating sometimes.
Exactly. Social wealth isn't about having a ton of followers. It's about those real, genuine connections, the kind built on honesty, shared experiences, mutual support, that kind of thing.
Okay, so we've got financial, time, social. What about mental wealth? What's that all about?
It's like our inner landscape. Cultivating curiosity, having a sense of purpose, adopting that growth mindset, always learning, pushing our boundaries.
So, like, always be learning new things. Keep that childlike curiosity alive.
Right. He asks, what would your 10-year-old self think of you today? I mean, think about it. Are you still exploring, still excited about learning?
That's a good one to ponder.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, there's physical wealth.
Bloom's not talking about six-pack abs or anything. He's talking about having the energy and vitality to really live your life.
So the basics.
Yeah.
Move your body, eat good food, get enough rest.
Pretty much. It's not about the latest fad diets or crazy workout routines. It's about those foundational things we all know we should be doing. But sometimes,
Let's be honest, we don't always prioritize.
it's about creating a sustainable, healthy lifestyle for the long haul.
Bloom doesn't just throw theories at us, he actually gives us practical tools to put this all into action. Things like the life razor for making decisions,
The pursuit map to help align your passions with your purpose.
and the Feynman technique for learning new stuff, really getting it to stick. Plus, something called the life dinner for building stronger relationships.
It's like he's giving us an actual toolkit for building a better life.
This is way more than your average money book. It's like a guide to designing a fulfilling life full of abundance in all its forms. But before we get lost in all the details, let's take a step back. Give us those key takeaways from this first part.
A summary, all right.
Here we go. First off, true wealth isn't just about money. It's about 5 interconnected things: financial, time, social, mental, and physical.
Second, don't fall for that arrival fallacy. External achievements won't magically make you happy.
Number 3, figure out what enough actually means to you. Don't get caught up in always wanting more, more, more.
Fourth, time is precious. Seriously. Acknowledge it's limited and focus your energy on what truly matters.
Number 5, cultivate those deep, meaningful relationships with your front row people, the folks who really have your back.
Sixth, fight back against loneliness. Make an effort to connect with others. Spend quality time with the people you love. Find activities that bring you a sense of belonging.
Seventh, stay curious. Keep learning, keep exploring new ideas.
Eighth, embrace a growth mindset. Believe in your ability to change and adapt. Focus on the effort and the progress, not just the end result.
Number 9, take care of your physical self. Move regularly, eat well, get enough sleep.
And number 10, it's never too late to start building wealth in all these areas. Use the tools and ideas from this book to create a truly abundant life, however you define that.
Wow, there you have it. 10 core concepts, the foundation for understanding this whole idea of the 5 types of wealth. We'll dig deeper into each one, explore some of Bloom's strategies in the next part of our deep dive. See you there.
10 points, that's a great way to sum it up. Really gets to the heart of Bloom's message. It's about more than just money. It's about living a life that's full, rich in experiences, relationships, all that good stuff.
And he gives us the tools to actually make it happen. Practical strategies, not just like vague ideas. I was really intrigued by the life raiser concept.
That's the life raiser.
It's this decision-making tool, helps you cut through all the noise, all the should I, shouldn't I stuff, and make choices that really align with what you believe in, your values.
So it's about simplifying decision making.
Exactly, getting to the core of what matters. Bloom actually shares some pretty cool examples of how this works in real life. Like one of his personal life raisers is never miss a Tuesday dinner with his family. It's non-negotiable no matter how busy things get.
Makes sense. It's a way to protect that quality time with loved ones.
Right. It's about setting those boundaries. And he tells this story about Mark Randolph, the Netflix co-founder. Randolph had this handwritten note, his life raiser, all about spending time with family and pursuing passions outside work.
That's pretty cool, having that guiding principle.
It's not about rigid rules, it's about finding what truly resonates with you. Now, Bloom also talks about defining our goals and our anti-goals, which I found really interesting.
Anti goals meaning what we want to avoid.
Yeah, it's not just about what we're striving for, but also the potential pitfalls, the things we want to steer clear of. Like, say your goal is to build a successful business,
Right.
but you don't want to sacrifice your health or relationships in the process.
So your anti goal would be like burning out or neglecting your family.
Exactly. Setting boundaries to protect what's truly important. Now, there's this other concept I wanted to ask you about, Kairos time. Bloom distinguishes it from Chronos time. What's the difference?
Chronos time, that's just regular time, the clock ticking away, right?
Okay.
Kairos time is different. It's about those opportune moments, moments of leverage, when our actions can have the biggest impact.
So it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart,
Hmm.
recognizing when your efforts will make the most difference.
Exactly. Bloom gives examples like, say, Lionel Messi scoring the winning goal or Warren Buffett making a game-changing investment.
Those moments where everything aligns, their skills, the situation, it's magical.
Right. And Bloom suggests we can apply that to our own lives. Look for those Kairos moments and really focus on them.
So it's about being strategic, knowing when to go all in.
Now, Bloom also advocates for designing our lives for energy, not just achievement. He even suggests doing a life energy audit.
A life energy audit, what's that?
It's about figuring out which activities give you energy and which ones drain you. Then you can structure your life accordingly. Bloom talks about different types of time: management time, creation time, consumption time, even ideation time.
So finding a balance that works for you, making sure you're spending enough time on the stuff that really lights you up.
And delegating where you can.
Delegation, that's a game changer. Bloom gives a framework for building a good delegation system. Frees up your time and energy, lets you focus on what you're best at.
It's a powerful tool.
Bloom's book is like a treasure chest of advice. And it's not just theory, it's practical stuff you can actually use. Speaking of which, let's go back to social wealth for a minute, talk about those front row people again.
It's a powerful metaphor, isn't it? It really makes you think. Who are those people in your life? The ones who'd be there, front row at your funeral, through thick and thin.
It makes you realize it's not about quantity, it's about quality. It's those deep, meaningful connections that really count. And in a world where we're so digitally connected, we're also seeing this rise of loneliness.
Right, it's a paradox. We're more connected than ever, but we're also more isolated.
Bloom gives some great suggestions for strengthening those relationships, one that stuck with me. Who could you call in the middle of the night if you were scared or sick?
Wow, that's a good one. Gets to the core of it, who you can truly rely on.
And Bloom also talks about the difference between earned status and acquired status.
Meaning like genuine respect versus just having a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's about earning respect, through your actions, your character, not chasing external validation. It's about being kind, having integrity, being generous, empathetic, the stuff that really matters.
And what about romantic relationships? Does Bloom address that?
He does. He emphasizes open communication, shared goals, making time to actually nurture the connection. He talks about this thing called the life dinner.
The life dinner, what's that?
It's this monthly ritual. Couples set aside time to connect, talk about their goals, both individual and shared, any challenges they're facing.
So it's like a scheduled check-in, keeps things on track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get busy and let those important conversations slide.
That makes a lot of sense. What else does he suggest?
Bloom also recommends learning each other's love languages.
Ah, how you give and receive love. That's so important.
It is, because what makes one person feel loved might not be the same for someone else.
And Bloom stresses the importance of maintaining your own individual interests, making sure both partners feel supported in their own growth and pursuits.
It's about nurturing the we and the me.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about mental wealth.
One of my favorite topics. Bloom tells this really inspiring story about a guy named Hank Behar, 90 years old, and get this, taking astronomy classes at Harvard.
90 years old, taking classes at Harvard. That's amazing.
It's proof that you're never too old to learn. Bloom really emphasizes nurturing that inner child's curiosity.
Keeping that spark alive.
Remember that question. What would your 10-year-old self think of you today?
Wow, that's powerful.
It makes you think, right? Have you kept that sense of wonder? Are you still exploring, still learning new things?
So much of it is about mindset. Bloom talks about cultivating a growth mindset, believing that you can learn and grow, adapt, even when things get tough.
It's the opposite of a fixed mindset where you think your abilities are set in stone. With a growth mindset, you see challenges as opportunities.
You focus on effort and progress, not just the outcome.
And the cool thing is, Bloom says we can actually cultivate that mindset through practice, like literally rewire our brains to embrace learning.
That's really encouraging. Bloom also talks about creating space for mental well-being. He uses this metaphor of a mental garden.
Taking care of your inner landscape.
Right. Setting aside time for quiet reflection, for connecting with yourself. Meditation, mindfulness, being in nature, anything that brings you peace. It's about creating those moments of calm amidst the chaos of life.
So, giving your mind a chance to rest and recharge. Bloom also talks about aligning our pursuits with our purpose.
Ah, purpose. That's a big one.
He introduces this tool called the Pursuit Map. Helps you identify those activities that energize you and also contribute to something bigger than yourself.
It's like finding that sweet spot where your passions and skills and values all come together.
And your purpose doesn't have to be this grand, world-changing thing. It could be something simple, like being a good parent, a supportive friend, being a positive force in your community,
Yeah.
whatever feels meaningful to you.
It's about finding that thing that gives your life direction, a sense of meaning.
Bloom gives us all these exercises and tools to help us discover our purpose and really live it. He also talks about flow states, those moments of total absorption where you're so focused on what you're doing that time seems to disappear.
Ah, flow states, they're magical.
He suggests creating a flow state boot-up sequence, like a ritual that helps you get into that zone, certain music, scents, whatever works for you.
Like a mental trigger to unleash your creativity.
Exactly. He also talks about learning from the best, studying people who have mastered their craft.
So finding mentors, role models.
It's not just about mimicking. It's about extracting those key principles and applying them to your own life. And he encourages us to build a brain trust, a network of people we trust, to give us advice and support.
It's good to have those people you can rely on, bounce ideas off of.
Definitely. We don't have to do it all alone.
Ah,
Okay, last but not least, physical wealth.
right, that's the final piece of the puzzle. And Bloom's approach is refreshing. It's not about striving for some unrealistic body ideal.
It's about having the energy to really live, right?
Exactly. He emphasizes those foundational things, movement, nutrition, recovery, the stuff we all know, but sometimes need a reminder.
He starts by debunking those myths. The idea that you need some fancy biohacking routine.
Keep it simple. Back to basics.
Okay, let's break it down, starting with movement. Bloom stresses the importance of finding activities you actually enjoy.
It shouldn't be a chore. If you hate running, don't force yourself to run. Find something you love.
Experiment, try different things. He also talks about the benefits of different types of movement, cardio, strength training, flexibility. It's about finding a balance that works for you.
And listening to your body. Bloom gives a sample training plan, pretty straightforward, but effective. He suggests 3 days of strength training, focusing on compound movements, the ones that work multiple muscle groups at once.
Efficient and effective. I like it.
And 2 to 3 days of cardio, like jogging, swimming, biking, whatever you enjoy. Plus 1 to 2 days of active recovery, yoga, stretching, just getting those muscles moving gently.
And of course, rest is key. Bloom talks about the importance of sleep.
It's so essential, yet so many of us are sleep deprived. Bloom gives some great tips for improving sleep quality. Establish a bedtime routine. Make sure your bedroom is dark and cool. Avoid screens before bed.
Creating those conditions for a good night's sleep.
Okay, moving on to nutrition.
Another area where there's so much conflicting information out there.
Bloom cuts through the noise, focuses on the basics. Whole, unprocessed foods, plenty of protein, a balanced intake of those macronutrients, carbs, fats, protein.
It's about making sustainable choices, not restrictive diets.
He encourages us to be more mindful of our eating habits, pay attention to our hunger cues, eat slowly, savor our food.
It's about having a healthy relationship with food, not feeling guilty or deprived.
Exactly. And finally, there's recovery, which is just as important as the other two. Bloom talks about incorporating active recovery days, like we talked about, stretching, yoga, foam rolling.
Things to help your muscles recover and prevent injuries.
He also recommends mindfulness techniques, meditation, deep breathing, anything to calm the nervous system. And of course, sleep, as we discussed, is essential for recovery.
So it's not just about pushing yourself, it's about giving your body the time and space it needs to repair and rebuild.
Bloom also talks about stress management, recognizing that stress can wreak havoc on our health. He suggests incorporating stress-reducing activities into our routines, like spending time in nature, listening to music, or pursuing hobbies we enjoy.
It's about finding those outlets that help you de-stress, recharge, and build resilience. Bloom's take on physical wealth is so refreshing. It's not about punishing yourself, it's about honoring your body.
It's about those consistent, healthy choices that add up over time. It's a journey, not a destination.
Well said. Bloom gives us the tools and the knowledge to make those choices, to move our bodies, nourish ourselves, prioritize recovery, manage stress. He really empowers us to take control of our physical well-being. Now let's move on to the final part of Bloom's book, where he talks about taking a leap of faith.
That's a powerful concept. It really ties everything together, all the things we've been talking about.
Bloom shares his own story of leaving a high-paying job that wasn't fulfilling and pursuing his passion.
It's a reminder that sometimes we have to step outside our comfort zone, embrace the unknown, even if it's scary. He also encourages us to confront our fears, those limiting beliefs that hold us back. He uses this line from the movie Inception. Do you want to take a leap of faith? Or become an old man filled with regret, waiting to die alone?
It's a powerful image. It makes you think, what are you holding yourself back from?
Bloom argues that true fulfillment often lies beyond our fear, that taking those leaps, even when they're scary, can lead to amazing breakthroughs and a life that truly feels meaningful.
He reminds us that we have the power to design our own lives,
Yeah.
to create a reality that aligns with our values and passions.
It's about taking ownership, creating those conditions that allow us to thrive.
Bloom also talks about finding our enough, that point where we're content, where we don't feel the need to constantly chase more or compare ourselves to others.
So much of true abundance is about internal resources. Those deep connections, meaningful pursuits, that sense of purpose, that belief in our own potential, and gratitude for what we have.
Bloom reminds us that we have the power to create a life filled with those things, the things money can't buy.
Love, connection, purpose, growth, vitality.
This has been an incredible journey, exploring Bloom's ideas. I'm feeling inspired, ready to put this all into action.
Me too. It's been a great conversation.
Now, before we wrap things up, remember that question Bloom asked about those unexpected detours? I'm curious, have you had a chance to think about that? Those times when life took an unexpected turn, maybe even led you somewhere amazing.
I have. It's funny how those unplanned twists and turns often lead to the most meaningful experiences. Some of the most significant moments in my own life, those weren't part of the plan.
I totally agree. Sometimes the best things in life happen when we veer off course a little, embrace the unknown. We'll come back together in the final part of our deep dive to tie all this together and share some concluding thoughts. But until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep doing those things that make you come alive.
Sometimes the most scenic routes are the ones we didn't even plan on taking. It's a good reminder to be open to new possibilities, embrace those unexpected adventures.
It's amazing how those detours can lead us to places we never imagined. Now, let's circle back to financial wealth. Bloom's approach is a bit different from the usual make money fast mentality.
He's all about aligning your financial goals with your values, figuring out what enough truly means for you. It's not just about accumulating wealth, it's about using it as a tool to create a life that's rich in experiences, relationships, all those things that truly matter.
It's a refreshing perspective. Money is a means to an end, not the end itself. Bloom also talks about understanding the money game, right?
He dives into the history of money, how it's evolved over time, from bartering to the complexities of today's financial markets. It's about understanding the forces at play, knowing how the system works so you can make it work for you.
Financial literacy, making informed decisions.
Exactly. Bloom gives a practical framework for building financial wealth. He focuses on three key areas: income, expenses, and investments.
He talks about diversifying your income streams, not relying on just one source.
And being smart about your spending, of course, but also making your money work for you through long-term investments. He talks about the power of compounding, how even small, consistent investments can grow significantly over time.
It's like that story about the rice and the chessboard.
Exactly. It shows how those small, initial steps can lead to exponential growth in the long run. The key is to start early and stay consistent. Bloom offers guidance on different types of investments: stocks, bonds, real estate.
He encourages diversification, spreading your risk, tailoring your strategy to your own situation, your risk tolerance, and how long you plan to invest.
It's about creating a personalized plan. And he acknowledges that it can be helpful to seek professional advice.
Having a trusted financial advisor can make a big difference. Bloom's approach to financial wealth is a breath of fresh air. It's not about those get-rich-quick schemes. It's about aligning your money with your values, living a life of true abundance.
He talks about the enough life, the idea of finding contentment with what you have instead of always chasing more.
That resonates with me. It's about appreciating what you have, not comparing yourself to others. This deep dive into Bloom's 5 types of wealth has really opened my eyes. It's not just about money. It's about creating a life that's rich in experiences, relationships, purpose, growth, all those things that make life meaningful.
And it's about believing in yourself, having that unwavering self-belief.
As we wrap up this exploration, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question from Bloom. What legacy do you want to leave behind? It's a question that goes beyond material wealth. It's about your impact on the world, the lives you touch.
It's a beautiful invitation to live a life of purpose, to contribute to something bigger than yourself, to make a difference.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the 5 types of wealth by Sahil Bloom. We hope this has inspired you to design a life filled with true abundance in all its forms. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep creating a life that truly matters.